Hello, hello, hello. Good morning and welcome to How to Become a Healthy Business Leader in 5 Simple Steps. So today we are streaming directly onto LinkedIn and also to YouTube. So I'm just going to do a couple of sound checks to make sure that I'm not talking to myself, which is always a problem. So we'll check. So if you can give me a little thumbs up, guys, if you can hear me, that would be great. And that means I know that you can hear my audio. I don't spend an hour talking to myself. Let's get a little check with the team. Cool. Okay, right. That's all clarified then. We're definitely up and running. Everything's working. Everyone can hear me. So thanks for joining me this morning. So those of you that don't know me, my name's Cameron Harris. I'm the Managing Director of Truth Fitness, and we help business leaders to get into incredible shape despite their crazy schedules, despite the pressures and the stress of running a company. And that's our kind of area of specialization. So today what we're going to be talking about is giving you an insight into the 5 steps, the 5 pillars that we use with our clients to help them to get from stressed out, exhausted, always traveling, maybe drinking too much, maybe eating too much, in a position where they feel bloated and inflamed and they're overweight and their health's just not in a good position. Because oftentimes what happens is that when you're running a company or you're very senior within a company, the stresses and strains of that business, of that kind of day-to-day pressure means that the health and fitness, your personal health and fitness gets pushed down the list of priorities. So what we've done over many years of kind of working with this type of person, this demographic, is we've created a very simple system that in fact guarantees results for people that come on board with us as clients. So today what I'm going to do is map out those 5 steps. So this will live on LinkedIn, so you can check it out afterwards if you've missed it. It will live on YouTube as well. So again, you can watch the recording. But if you are watching this live, I'd recommend that you get a little pen and pad. Those of you that don't know what a pen and pad looks like, and take some notes, because the information we're going through today, you could literally take this away and build your own program from this, and it will get incredible results. I literally had a call with somebody 5 days ago and took them through this process, just said, hey, try that. Hadn't been able to get results for 5-6 years. Nothing had changed. And they followed, morning guys, morning everyone that's on. They followed this simple 5-step process and they lost 2.5 kilos in a week. They started to improve their sleep. Their skin started to look better in such a short space of time. They're feeling more refreshed. They're feeling more awake. So this is information that has been tested a lot of times, and it's information that is simple. It's information that you can take away and you can use yourself. Okay, ideally you're going to want someone to support you through it, and maybe after this call we can talk about that, but the information is good and it's going to really help you. Okay, so let's get into it then. So what we're looking at when we go into the actual kind of slide deck, there's going to be a Q&A at the end. So don't feel like you've got to kind of, jump in, or, you can ask questions, but we'll do that at the end. So if you can just kind of save those up, right? So a little bit of an introduction to the company and a bit of an introduction to kind of what we do. So we help, business leaders specifically, but people in general achieve their goals and live happier and healthier and happier lives by providing expert guidance and inspiration in nutrition, fitness, and habit optimization. So we really promote human first fitness. Is part of what we do on a daily basis, because we know that there's a big trend towards AI and tech, and the amount of people that text me about programs they've had built by AI and technology and all this stuff is very worrying, because what we can see is that unless you're dealing with an actual human, the information you're being given is going to be generic, even though it feels like it's very specific for you. It's not going to understand, it's not going to be empathetic, it's not going to understand pain and restrictions and days when you feel stressed and days when you feel like you don't really fancy it, it's just not going to do the job for you. I mean, if you're 22 years of age and you've got loads of time on your hands and you can follow a program and you go to the gym 5 times a week, maybe not a bad choice. But if you're a business leader that is in, not in a healthy position, that has lots of different issues, whether it's time, whether it's stress, whether it's poor sleep, alcohol, bad habits, it's just not going to do the job for you. Okay. So, having a system, having a support network, having accountability, and an expert, a human expert, not a computer, will certainly be a good option for you. So we're London based. So we were based in the City of London for many, many years. Firstly in Shoreditch, and then we moved to the City of London, so the square mile, and we're based very close to the Gherkin, inside of a building, inside of a club called the Devonshire Club. We're there for many years before COVID hit, and we built this rapid results system, which is our 6-week system. Okay, it's 100% guaranteed. It's got 100% success rate. There's a couple of reasons for that. One, it's a bloody good system and it works. The second reason is that we have an application process around who we work with. So we don't work with everybody. Okay. So we don't kind of, if you're a wallet and a pulse, you can come work with us. You need to be in a position where you're ready to get results. Okay. You need to be in a position where you're ready to trust the process. If you're coming to us and you're looking to kind of, just do something that's fun and all that kind of stuff, and you're just moving around and you want to do fitness classes, that's not what this is. We are about real life health transformation. Okay. Over 430 business leaders have been through our process and they've transformed. So just a bit about, the actual webinar, why we're doing this. So the purpose of the webinar, we're going to go through why it's so hard to lose weight and improve health when you're running a company. We'll cover that as well. How do we fix it? Of course, that's the important stuff. How do I take this problem that I've got and actually use it to fix the problem? And again, what is a healthy business leader? So we talk about this a lot in our wording, in our marketing, in our webinars, everything that we do. We talk about the healthy business leader. And the healthy business leader essentially is what you should be aiming for. It should be the gold standard of where you should be. Okay. Now, I've only got kind of 45, 50 minutes to do this presentation, but just to kind of give you an insight that I think is really helpful for people that are watching this and are maybe not aware of where they are on their health journey. Okay. If we look at BMI and we look at obesity as a marker of poor health, okay, and there's no doubts around that. There's no, that's not up for debate. If you are obese, if you're morbidly obese, which is BMI talking 28, 30, 35 plus, you are in a very poor health state. The chances of you getting cancer and heart disease and diabetes and all the really bad outcomes that we don't want to, talk about or think about are increased exponentially. Okay. So if you're watching this, if you're tuning into this today and you're a business leader, you're successful, or maybe you're someone that's, senior within your company and you're under a lot of stress and you are in the, obese, morbidly obese range, you must get your weight down. Okay. I use the word must because this is not a game. This is not something that you can just play around with. And we see it all the time. And it kind of quite frustrating to, speak to business leaders that are running companies, very successful, very, very smart people, and they've got the means to kind of invest in this stuff, but sit on the fence because, they feel that it's okay. Well, I'm here to tell you that if you are in that position, if you are overweight, if you are in a highly stressed position, you've got pressure of teams and cash flow, all that kind of stuff. If you're traveling a lot, if you're drinking quite a lot, if you're eating the wrong foods, you're really not in a good place. You need to start focusing on becoming a healthy business leader because the outcomes of not doing that, I'm not going to scaremonger here, these are just facts, is not a good one. And we don't want to be having conversations with our children and with our grandchildren around, I didn't take action when I should have, and now I've got a problem that's unfixable. Okay. So why do we need to become a healthy business leader and how do we get there fast? Obviously, we're going to finish with the Q&As at the end. I'm very active on LinkedIn. True Fit is very active on LinkedIn. So any questions you've got, guys, do feel free to reach out anytime. Okay. So why are we doing this webinar? Why am I sitting here on a Friday morning at 11 o'clock, doing this webinar? Let's be frank with you about this, right? So we're looking to educate people around a simple framework, morning Ash, a simple framework that helps people to go from a position of not knowing what to do, of being lost and confused, and getting themselves in a position where they go, you know what, I can actually do this. I can take action. I can make the changes that I need to start working towards this healthy business leader. Okay. And again, we're building our brand. I'm being completely transparent with you here. We want to build our brand. We want more people to know about what we do. We want to grow our engagement so more people kind of engage with our content. As you can see, again, if you follow us on LinkedIn, if you watch this on LinkedIn right now, we're very active. We post a lot of content, and it's all driven towards that demographic, that person that we just spoke about. Okay. And of course, referrals and recommendations. If you've got anyone that you think would benefit from this, share it with them, introduce them to us as a company. We're very good at what we do. Okay. And of course, we'd love to win some business. So let's get into this then. So like I say, if you want to grab a pen and paper, we're going to get into the kind of meat and bones of this, right? And make this as value driven as possible. And again, any questions you've got, please do ask. Please do hit us up at the end or message us. We're very happy to help. I do understand there's a lot of information coming over. And, I watch stuff on LinkedIn Lives. I watched Ash's, the WAM guys, watched their presentation. It's a lot of information. And it's new, and it's, if you're not in this space, it's quite a lot to digest. So please ask questions. We're very open. We're friendly and supportive. Is kind of part of our ethos as well. Okay. So why business leaders? Well, when it comes to kind of the people that we work with, and it kind of happened 6, 7, 8 years ago, really, we started to work with more business people. We started to work with more managing directors, and slowly but surely, it started to become our thing. And what we kind of started to observe, what we kind of started to understand is that business people, business leaders, there's a big strain on their mental and their physical health. Okay. I run a business. I get it. I know what it's like. I've been through the mill with it. I understand it. The ebbs and flows, the ups and downs, the team member that's playing up, or the client that lets you down, or the client that never paid, the travel, the expectations around what you should be doing, the expectations from clients that you should be going out and drinking alcohol and eating bad food. Okay. We get it. We understand how this world works. Okay. So if you're watching this and that resonates with you, these are a few things you might be struggling with, right? Insane working hours. Okay. If you run a company, there's no such thing as out of hours, right? We all know that. Okay. Especially with our phones now, with our computers, everything follows us everywhere. Okay. Especially if you're like an entrepreneurial type, it's 24 hours a day, right? You're probably struggling with your sleep. So whether it's lack of sleep, quality of sleep, sleep's a big one. And we'll talk about that in a bit more detail. You're probably traveling, whether you're getting on the train often, or you're traveling to New York or Dubai, or wherever you are in the world. That travel has a negative impact on your energy, on your capacity to kind of rest. There's also a lot of bad choices around because you're in airports. There's plain food, which is crap, for want of a better phrase. Also, you've got this pressure around entertaining, right? Going out, drinking, eating, schmoozing clients, especially in the early days. What we find happens, a lot of our guys are 45 plus, very, very successful people. And what happens is there's this kind of, when they first start, they have to do it, right? Because they have to meet clients, have to go and schmooze people, they have to network, okay? But then what happens is they get older, they get in the habit of it and they don't ever break it. And you kind of ask them, like, do you need to go to that event? Do you need to see that client? They're like, well, no, I don't need to, but I kind of want to. So there's a whole kind of, there's a whole complexity around that as well. Stress is a massive one. Like I said, client lets you down, team member doesn't show up, you've got an event coming up or a big pitch and someone's sick. This is business. This is what happens, right? Alcohol's a massive one, huge one. Okay. And we're not a company that says, zero alcohol, none of that kind of stuff. We get it. It's part of life. We live in a country where culturally it's a big part of going out and meeting people. And it's a big part of, family get-togethers. The problem is that most people use it in the wrong way. And they also make bad choices around it. They create negative habits around it. And they use it as a stress reliever. which, we've all been there and we've all done it, but it's just not a good choice. Okay. And again, eating on the go. So grabbing food on the go, grabbing sandwiches, grabbing meal deals, whatever that might kind of, be for you. Croissants and lattes is a big one. And stimulants, because you're so bloody exhausted because of all the stuff I've just mentioned, you live in a world where potentially you're caffeinated all of the time. I'll tell you a quick story. I met this gentleman about 3 years ago, and he didn't sign up as a client, so he's not a client of ours. But I was talking to him about, his energy and how bad his sleep was, and alcohol being a big problem for him. And we kind of spoke about caffeine a little bit, and he said that, I do have the odd coffee. Anyway, thought nothing of it. Thought, okay, cool. Doesn't sound like he's having a lot of coffee. Later on in the conversation, he revealed to me that he was having 15 to 20 coffees a day. Don't even ask me how you do that, but he was. So he's obviously getting up, having a large one, and it's one on the train, one when he gets to the office, all day long. Okay. I'm not saying there's people on this call that are in that world, but that's too much. Okay. There's a limit to how much caffeine should be having. People have got a very bad relationship with caffeine as well. It's the difference between using it because you enjoy it and it's part of your kind of daily routine, gets you going, and using it because you're exhausted. Big problem that we find, and again, you might be watching this, and this is not specifically for business people. I think it's just across the board. I did a video on this, a couple of days ago about, I really don't like the way the fitness industry is going. I don't like the way that, spend 30 seconds on TikTok or Instagram, and you will see experts, within their space arguing and calling each other out, and it's a little bit like a school playground for me. It's not helpful, and I feel sorry for the people that want to find that information, that actually want to find a resource that's helpful for them. Okay, so again, we're called Truth for a reason. We're honest. We give you advice that will just work. And when it comes to that kind of the kind of spats people have and all that, we don't go with all that. Okay, we are client centric. For us, it's about helping you. It's about getting results for you. Okay. So you might watch this and thinking, like, I've Googled stuff. I read fitness magazines, someone's telling me calorie counting, someone's telling me vegan, someone's telling me keto. Trust me, it's a minefield. I'm doing a level 5 at the moment on my nutrition. And even inside of the literature, people are saying inside of programs that nutritionists are taking, this is not an exact science. This is not a completely proven principle. So if it's kind of conflicted within the nutritional world, how do you, the client or the person trying to get in shape, you haven't got much of a chance. So again, it's a big problem within the industry. So again, if you are a business person, if all the stuff that I've said to you is resonating, potentially the way we do things could work for you. Okay. But something's really important to understand is that 99% of the information out there is not relevant to you. Give you a quick story. One of our clients who's been a client of ours for 6 years now, fantastic guy, very, very successful business person, runs 2 companies, top guy. He worked with a personal trainer, and he went to his personal trainer before he met us and said, hey, I've got these clients coming over from New York. There's a couple of guys coming over. They want to go for dinner. They want to go to the Savoy, want to have a steak, etc. What would your advice be around, food and what to drink? And the genuine response that he got from that personal trainer, when he told me this, he told me, and he had a bit of a wry smile on his face because a bit ridiculous. He told him, have a piece of steak or some chicken, just have the broccoli and drink water. Okay. So in the personal trainer's mind, that's great advice. In the mind of the person that's got these 2 clients coming over from New York that want a good time, it's useless. Okay. So you can see how business leaders get very frustrated because a lot of the information they're getting is poor at best. It's generic. It doesn't take into account the specific nature and demands of business, which is, again, what we do. All right. So again, I want to try to break down some beliefs here. I want to give you some clarity around what should be possible, what you should expect of yourself. I'll tell you straight off the bat, though, what you shouldn't expect of yourself, and we see this all the time, is that you can be a business leader, you can run a company, you can have all the stress and strain and do ridiculous hours and be Michael Jordan. Okay. If you're a professional business person and you have got a lot of kind of stress and restrictions around time, the chances of you being a professional athlete are zero. Okay. So you need to drop the ego and be realistic around what can I achieve and keep doing what I'm doing when it comes to business. Okay. Things can change. People sell businesses and people, move out of business and they have time on their hands. But if you're a business person that's in the business right now, stop thinking you're going to be Michael Jordan or break records that you did when you're 20. Let's start with the basics. Let's start with, for example, when it comes to time, when it comes to training, flexibility around your training. Okay. Making it a priority, getting some accountability around your training. When it comes to sleep, rather than trying to make it perfect, let's look at improving the quality of your sleep. If you're traveling a lot, let's look at hotel workouts so you don't keep falling off of your plan. Okay. When it comes to entertaining and going out with clients, let's look at adding some fundamentals in there, which mean that when you do go out with a client, you know what to eat and drink and you don't fall off plan and then push the F it button and then go mad. Okay. If you're stressed and you haven't got much time, watching some people online and they tell you to do 2 hours yoga and 2 hours meditation, all this stuff, and cold plunges at 4 a.m., it's just not applicable to people that are busy. Okay. So 2 great things you can do for stress is actually start working out, start moving your body a bit. Okay. Also, if you get 30 seconds, 10 deep breaths, 10 deep breaths out. Really simple. Takes 10 seconds, maybe 20 seconds. Depends how quick you breathe, right? Alcohol. If alcohol is a big part of your life, start looking at damage limitation, switching out bad drinks for good drinks. Okay, drinking out, kind of swapping out better options. Eating on the go, eating on the fly. It's part of what you're going to have to kind of get your head around. Start working out what should I grab and go if I'm short on time. And again, when it comes to stimulants, start using them strategically rather than as a standard. And don't be like, person X that drinks 15 to 20, because that is insanity. Okay, so how do I become a healthy business leader, Cam? Stop waffling on. Start telling me the magic stuff. Start telling me the good stuff. So we've got a 5-step process, which is really simple. Okay. Starts with habits, goes on to training, moves into nutrition, sleep, and NEAT. And we're going to break these down and take you through each step. Again, I'm up against the clock a little bit, so I'm going to give you an overview. Any questions, you hit us up. So just a quick offer then. This is just a blatant pitch, and we run a company. We're here to expand our network, expand our business. We can help you to lose up to £20 in 6 weeks, help you to build new healthy habits. If you're looking at your diary and thinking, how am I going to fit all this in? How am I going to cut the booze down? How am I going to make better habits around my food and my training? Help you to transform your health. Also, a big part of what we do is allowing our clients to actually do the things they love for longer. So to give you an example, I speak to lots of people in the business space, executive people that have got themselves in a position where they can't play with their kids any longer. They can't play football with them. They can't kick a football around the garden because their body's in pain. They're overweight. They're in a position where if they run around the garden, they're exhausted. So, when it comes to that stuff, that's what's important. That's what you love doing, right? I don't know any parent or grandparent that doesn't love playing with their kids, even when they're driving a bit mad, right? But it's a great way to kind of think about why you're doing this. Why do you need to get yourself in shape? If it's not for you, if it's not for getting back in your favorite suit, think about the people you're doing it for. People around you that will be positively impacted. Again, start to think outside of your own circle as well, right? And a big part of what we do is you actually start to inspire your friends and your family and your team. Okay. We've got executive programs. We go into companies and deal and kind of help senior executives. The shift you can see in culture as the manager looks at the senior manager and the senior manager looks at the executives and sees those guys getting in shape, you'll be surprised. It's incredible. It's very, very powerful. That impact that it has when you get in shape as the executive, as a business owner, I can't begin to tell you how powerful that is. Okay. If you want to learn a bit more about that, if you want to reach out to me afterwards, you can hit us up at hi@truefitness.co.uk or message me on LinkedIn. I'm around. Right. So let's get your pen and paper out then, guys. Let's get into this. So again, I'm going to kind of be as informative and explain this as best I can. I'm short on time, so I will do my best. Again, any questions, give me a shout. Right. So the great thing about habits is that you've already got some. You're not adding something to your life, right? You've already got habits, everything you do every day, okay, can be put into a category of a habit, of a structure around your day that you probably normally have, okay? You maybe aren't even aware that you've got a lot of habits in your daily kind of routine that you didn't realize were a habit, okay? But a good thing about habits, as I mentioned, is that you can take bad ones and shift them into good ones. It won't take you any more time. You're already doing it, okay? So the first thing to do is assess your habits. What am I doing on a daily basis that is a habitual thing, okay? And then ask yourself, which are the bad ones? So for example, I'm not walking from the station to the office, okay? Or I'm grabbing a croissant every morning on the way to work. Or 3 times a week, I'm having a pint in the ship on the way back to the station. Okay. Once you've listed out all of those bad habits, what we're now going to do is rank them. And the top 3 to 4, don't do any more than 3 to 4 because it'd be too much. Okay. The top 3 to 4 maximum, choose those and list those as the ones that are going to have the biggest impact if you were to change them. So, for example, having a croissant or a bacon roll with loads of HP sauce and a latte with sugar in it is probably quite a bad option in the morning. That's a bad habit. Okay. Once you've decided what those 3 to 4 are, don't do any more than that. Please don't do any more than that because you're going to leave yourself pissed off and disappointed because you've overdone it and you can't do that. Once you've done that, you want to build out a new habit list. And you can see in here is a little snap of our application. You can see what we've done for a client. We've built out a daily habit routine. So every day they go in and tick that new good habit. You could do exactly the same thing for yourself on your phone, on a pad of paper, wherever you can see it on an app. There's probably accountability apps out there. And every day, yes, I've done it, yes, I've done it, yes, I've done it. What actually begins to happen is because you're ticking it off daily, you're physically building a new habit into your life. Okay. Newsflash, doing it for 14 days is not enough. Okay. Doing it for 4 weeks is not enough. You need to keep doing it until you don't need to list it off. Okay. And you can stop listing it when it just happens. Okay. A great way to make sure you're implementing this is to bring accountability into the mix. Okay. And if you want to do this on your own, the problem you've got is holding yourself accountable is very difficult. It's why we've got a company, because we hold people accountable to the things they said they wanted to achieve. Okay. If you're somebody that cannot hold themselves accountable and you're on this call thinking, I keep making bad choices, probably holding yourself accountable is not going to work. What you can do, which is a free option, is find someone in your circle that can hold you accountable. Do not choose John or Jane from down the pub who's in the pub every night having drinks, okay? Because they can't hold themselves accountable, so they're not going to hold you accountable. You need to find the guy or the girl that's in the gym every day, that's relentless, that comes in every time, never misses a day. That crazy person is the person that you should be called in to keep you accountable, because they won't let you off the hook. Okay. However, they might get annoyed at you and give up if you keep not doing what you said you were going to do. Okay. So accountability is key. So training is the next part of what we do. And again, all these subjects, guys, I could talk for an hour on each one. So, do write down best notes you can and take action on these as well. Okay. So let's keep this really simple. Assess your current program. Is it working? Are you getting results? If the answer to that is no, it ain't working. It's no good. Very, very simple. When it comes to programming, I've spoken to people that have been doing the same program in the same gym for 2 to 3 years and haven't seen a single bit of progress. What a waste of time. If the program isn't working, you need to change it. Ask yourself this: is it time efficient? Going on the treadmill for an hour and a half, or the cross trainer for an hour and a half, or whatever it is you're doing, is not time efficient. It's a waste of time. It's commendable that you're doing that. Great, well done, but it's not going to get the change that you want. Is it flexible? Does it move around you? If you miss a workout in the morning because a board member wants to have a chat or a client needs to have a chat, is your program flexible enough so you can do it in the afternoon? Okay. Are you missing sessions? If you're missing sessions all the time, something's off. Either you hate the workouts, probably though, it's because you're not getting results. If you don't get results in a program, it's a guaranteed way to get annoyed at it, because it's just not getting you what you want. Okay. When you start to build yourself a new program, when you start to build in, a new training program, new routine for yourself, avoid tons of running. Because, the reason I say this as well is because every January, I've done this for a long, long time now. I'm older than I look. I know I'm 25, but I'm not. I'm 37. Most people, when it comes to January or starting something new, go, right, let's go running because it's free, it's easy, it's outside the front of your doorstep. It requires a pair of trainers and then you're good to go. The problems that we see with running is that if you're in bad shape, if your posture's bad, if you're weak, if you're overweight, if you're inflamed, if you're dehydrated, if you're drinking a lot, it's a gold-plated way to hurt yourself. And there's only one step that's worse from doing nothing, and that's not being able to do anything because you've hurt yourself. It's the worst place to be. So please avoid tons of running. Couch to 5Ks, all this stuff, it's great, but just do the walking version. Do not run. Okay. Once you're in great shape and you're strong and you're fit and you're resilient, run as much as you want. It's not going to be a problem. When it comes to actually what type of training should you be doing, you need to be focusing on bang for your buck, big muscle movements. We're talking deadlifts, lunges, pressing, where you're moving your body, your whole body at the same time. Reason being is you're going to get much more out of that from a hormonal position, from a overload position, from an intensity position, from a metabolic change position, from a results position. It just helps. You going in the gym, if you've got 4 stone to lose and doing bicep curls for 10 minutes, guys, it's literally a waste of time. You might as well not bother. I mean that genuinely. I'm not being harsh. I'm just telling you the truth. It's a waste of time. Okay. If you've got 4 stone to lose, stop doing abs. Stop doing biceps. You need to do bang for your buck workouts. Nutrition. This is the good stuff. And I'll get lambasted for this, no doubt. I'll get messages saying I'm chatting nonsense. I don't really care. I'm here to help people, and this stuff works. Most people we talk to, most people we bring on board, or people we have conversations with, have the following issues. One is they don't eat enough protein. And I know everything you read in the news, everyone's telling you the opposite. Everyone in England, UK, we all eat too much protein. We're eating too much meat, eating too many eggs. My experience is that most people in the business space eat too little. So they'll wake up in the morning, they'll run out the door with a piece of toast and jam in their mush, run into the train, bang a coffee with sugar down. They'll wait to lunchtime, they'll stick a Tesco meal deal in their face with, bread and crisps and fizzy drinks. And it just leads them to a position where they're not actually eating any protein. And what happens is they're not eating any healthy fats as well. And as a result, they're overeating on sugar, which is massive. Massive, massive problem with eating too much sugar. And again, there'll be people in the calorie counting world that will say, you can get away with this, you can do this. We're not stupid, right? Eating sugar every day, eating too much of it, eating poor quality proteins, eating poor quality fats, eating chemical laden foods. Come on. It's not rocket science, is it? It's quite simple. So one of the issues you have when you start to eat these kind of carbohydrate and kind of synthetic fats and poor quality fats and trans fats is what starts to happen. You get something called the Randall cycle. And what starts to happen, it starts to create inflammation in the body. So a big problem we've got at the moment is people being obese, eating too much processed food. You've seen it all over the news over the last couple of weeks, the study that came out. Processed foods is creating a big problem with obesity and with inflammation. And yes, and I'm going to have people on here saying people are eating too much. Yes, they are eating too much. They're also eating too much crap and they're eating the wrong stuff. Okay. It's not as simple as just eat less. If you're eating less of crap, you're eating less crap. You're not eating better. You're not actually educating yourself and being proactive around what a good meal is and what a poor meal is. Some of the things that happen when people start to fix this is start to recover better from training. They feel stronger. They don't feel hungry because they're actually eating proper food. And also they stop overeating once they start to fix these problems. What happens when you have a kind of diet that's laden with lots of sugar and carbohydrates and all these kind of man-made fats, it tricks your body into thinking that you can eat more. You ever seen a kid eat at McDonald's? Within half an hour, they want another one. Reason being is it's not proper food. It's not proper food. It's not nutrient-dense, good quality food. And again, reducing inflammation in the body. See it all the time. I'm not going to mention his name because he might be on and it's a private matter, but a client of ours very recently had extremely restricted shoulders and, was diagnosed with an autoimmune issue from fixing his food up, from eating nutrient-dense foods, from reducing the amount of processed foods in his diet. The range came back, the pain reduced. We see it all of the time. A couple of questions popping up, guys, and I will answer those at the end. So thank you for sharing those. Do feel free to stick them in the comments box. And Ash taught me a little trick the other day where I can now show that in the live as well. So reducing sugar from the diet. Again, how do we do things and how we get people to transform very, very quickly is we drastically reduce the sugar and carbohydrates they have in their diet. So if you're watching this and saying, what can I do over the next 7 days to start dropping fat, dropping water, start feeling better? This is what you should be doing. Okay, so increase the amount of protein you're eating, not processed, not crap, the best quality possible, whether it's eggs, a little bit of dairy is fine, fish is all good, beef, chicken, we're not going to get too strict on what's happening. There are better, more complete proteins with more nutrient density, but as we start here, let's just start with more protein. And again, eating the right types of fats. So if you're having avocados, having good quality olive oil, having butter, these are fats, these are macronutrients that help you to stay full. They're great for energy. They're imperative for hormone balance. People don't talk about this, but a lot of hormones and the kind of the processes around it require fat. They need fat. Back in the 50s and 60s, fat was vilified. You need it in your body. It's not something that you can just not have. What often people do is they'll go crazy and go high protein diet and eat chicken 6 times a day, have zero fat in the diet and feel like crap. It's because you're not having the fat. Fat's important. And as best you can, try and keep your meal times as consistent as possible. When it comes to what types of food you should be eating, single ingredient, nutrient dense food is always going to be the best way to go. If you're someone that can't cook, you're going to find this more difficult. If you're someone that can cook, it's not difficult for you to cook this type of food. It's very, very simple. Just think, Mediterranean diet is very similar. Paleo would be a similar version. And any kind of advice you want around this, again, just hit me up on a message and we can definitely help. And again, with our application, with how we do things, we build this out for you. It'll be inside your apps. It'll be customized. There'll be some examples of meals in there as well. And as you can see on there, just an example of one of our clients, smashing it and losing weight and feeling incredible. Sleep. We all know about sleep. It's very, very big at the moment. Everyone's talking about sleep hygiene. Everyone's getting more attached to sleep. I've noticed it in the last 2-3 years, having 2 kids, definitely. Those of you out there who've got kids, it's a full-time job. It's tiring. They're full of energy and we love them, but it's knackering. So sleep for me has become much more focused over the last couple of years. And I've noticed big differences in myself in, my energy. People don't realize, but, an hour and a half lost in sleep can reduce productivity by 32%. We all know that CEO or that business owner that's a bit of a beast and they're like, oh yeah, I can survive in 4 hours. I'm here to tell you, you can't. It's complete nonsense. It's just information that people feed themselves to make themselves feel better about, how great they are and how performance led they are and how successful they are. There's no 2 ways about it. When the pearly gates open, it's going to come soon if you're not sleeping. It's just so bad for you. So really, really, really kind of write this down and put a big ring around it, guys. You've got to sleep. You have to improve your sleep. If you can't sleep for longer, we need to sleep, increase the quality. And there's a couple of ways you can do that. So a couple of questions to ask yourself. Am I falling to sleep easy? Do I get to bed, hits the pillow and I'm off? Okay, it's one question. So, are you tossing? Are you turning? Are you in and out of sleep? Do you stay asleep is a big one as well. Do you wake up without an alarm? If you wake up every morning and you're blinking through your eyelids and the alarm's going off and you're trying to throw it out the window, that's a sign that your sleep's really bad. Something's off. And again, back to the stimulant side of things, do I need coffee? Do I have a coffee because I enjoy having a coffee? Or do I have it because I feel like I'm dragging myself across the pavement in the morning? 2 different things. If you don't get your sleep right, guys, please understand this. If you don't get your sleep fixed, you will not get results. Guarantee it. It's a couple of reasons. One is you won't recover. 2, you won't have energy in the mornings to train. 3, your motivation's through the floor. 4, you eat crap when you're tired. And you know you do. We all do. We're humans. Our bodies are all very similar. And the third and the fifth part of that as well is if your sleep is off, it's got this kind of daily impact, which means that you know in your head that you've only got a certain amount of energy because you've had a crap sleep. If you've got a really big pitch to do in the morning, you're going to save that energy for the pitch. I can't train today because I'm too tired. I can't get my steps in today because I'm too tired. I've got this big pitch coming up. You see how the psychology of that is debilitating. It's really, really bad. So sleep hygiene. You'll hear about this a lot, but just some really quick tips for you. 60 minutes prior to bed, don't drink any water. If you're sitting there sipping orange juice or whatever you're having, before bedtime, your bladder will fill up and it will make you wake up, okay? We're not 5 anymore. We don't wet ourselves. We wake up. So if you wake up at 1 a.m. because your bladder's full, then you wake up at 4 a.m. because your bladder's full, you've got a problem. You're breaking sleep because you're drinking too much water. So just stop an hour before bed. When it comes to the lights in your bedroom, if you imagine Charles Dickens writing his books, with his little candle on, that light is perfect for sleep. It's low light, okay? Having lights on above your head like Tottenham Hotspur's training ground is not going to make you feel tired. It's going to make your body think I'm at a disco, or I need to do work, or something's happening that needs to engage my brain. So low light as best you can. If you've got a side light, put the side light on. I see people tell me they're sitting there with their main light on reading and then suddenly turn it off and it's dark and they want to sleep. Your brain's not ready. You're not going to get into sleep that way. Blackout blinds. Massive one. If your bedroom is light and summer's coming and we all know about 4:30 in the morning it starts to get bright. If you haven't got blackout blinds, your brain will wake up before you do. You'll notice the light. So blackout blinds are really important. And blue light, every business leader on this call today, listen to my words. Stop using your phone in bed. Everyone's cursing me out now because it's a mad one. We've always got emails to do. We've always got work to do, and I've done it. I'm not saying I haven't done it. But when you sit there staring at your Mac or your phone or whatever you're doing, and then you turn it off and you try to go to sleep, it's like you just had a double espresso. It's not indicative of good sleep. Turn the blue light off, turn the phone off. Don't turn the phone off, just put it on silent. Get it out of the room an hour before your bed. You're not going to miss anything that important. You know that as well. You can get up a little bit earlier and do it in the morning. That would be my advice. The only thing that, just a little side note, which works because, a lot of business people, their brains are very, very active because you've got a lot of stuff going on, right? If you find that, you've got a brain and a mindset, which, and I'm very similar, is I've got to do that job, otherwise I can't sleep. I've got to do that thing. Get a little pad next to your bed, little sticky notes or even a pad, and brain dump the things you need to do in the morning. What it does, it gets it out of here, puts it onto the pad, and it physically removes it from you. So in your head, I've written it down. So as soon as I wake up in the morning, I'll do it. What a lot of people don't realize is that I've had people in the past, and I keep everything in my head. I keep all my to-dos in my head. How'd you do that? Like with all the stuff going on, how do you even keep it in your head? And the same person then can't sleep because they've got all this stuff going on in their brain all the time, going round and round and round and round. I've got to do this in the morning. Can't forget to email that person. I've got this pitch coming in. You're killing your sleep. You're killing your sleep. Okay. Massive one is caffeine. Don't drink caffeine after 12 o'clock would be ideal. So midday. People, if you're watching this and you're having caffeine at 3, 4, 5, 6 o'clock and you can't sleep, bingo, that's why you can't sleep, because you're having too much coffee. It's got a very long half-life, caffeine, so about 12, 13 hours. So it will stay in your system for a long time. If you stop around 12, by the time it gets to 7 o'clock in the evening, your body's in a non-stimulated state. 2 p.m. would be the latest, but don't have it after 2. Also get into a position where you have the coffee a little bit after you wake. Don't have it as a kind of as soon as you get up. Give your body a chance to wake up naturally. Booze is a massive one. If you're drinking, the old wives' tale of a glass of red wine will help you sleep. It's total nonsense. Absolute nonsense. Because what happens is your body then has to deal with the alcohol instead of focusing on restful sleep. So you might pass out because you've had a bottle of red, but you'll sit in this very shallow sleep. And probably around 2 or 3 o'clock, we've all been there, right? You've had a bottle of red, or you've had some vodkas or some beers, and at 4 o'clock in the morning, you're awake because your liver is now having to deal with that, and it's waking you up because it's a process that takes quite a lot of energy up. So you're waking up. Tulsi tea, chamomile teas, they're great for kind of reducing, they're just kind of chilling you out a little bit. Magnesium, guys, absolute game changer. Most people in the UK are deficient anyway, so you should be having that as standard. But magnesium before sleep, if you can get a blended one, blatant pitch, we've got a really good one, so reach out if you want it. But magnesium is amazing for sleep. It really gets you into deep, restful sleep about an hour before bed. Sleep, big one. And then kind of final pillar then is NEAT, which is non-exercise activity thermogenesis. This is all the movement that you do outside of your exercise. So if you see me, I'm quite active. I'm moving, I'm fidgeting. People drive people mad because I'm always fidgeting, right? That's because naturally I'm quite a movement-based person. So my energy state is out on a rugby pitch or in a gym or doing stuff like this. I've got to be active. Doing things where I'm kind of in a position of, sitting on a task that is quite slow and monotonous, I struggle with that. I'm more of a high energy type person. So all those movements that you do, the fidgets, the moving, the steps is a big one. Everyone knows about the steps, right? It's all the energy you expend outside of your actual exercise and sleep. So let's talk about steps specifically, because some of you might not be someone that constantly swings your hands around and, keeps moving around. Steps is a great one because obviously it's a measurable number. We've got watches, we've got phones, we've got all different types of ways of measuring it. And when it comes to steps, you'll often hear people talk about a gold standard of 10,000 steps. If you're working in an office and you're in a sedentary job, that's really tough. If you ever tested it, it's a lot of steps. 10,000 would be okay for someone that's walking to meetings or, kind of in a job where they're in and out of the car, stuff like that. If you're actually at a desk, it's very difficult. So a couple of things to do would be to recalibrate that to around 7,000 to 7,500 would be a much more realistic target, because that's a good level. Still going to require you to plan in some walk-ins. A couple of little hacks for you. Go and get a coffee. At 11 o'clock, don't use the coffee in the office. Just walk down to the shop and get one, or pretend you're walking to the shop and get one from the office anyway. Just use that time to get those steps in. If you've got meetings with the team that are just phone meetings, if you're talking to a member of staff or someone that's very relaxed, doesn't have to be a very, very professional conversation, stick your AirPods in and go for a walk. Just do that. If you're having your lunchtime, rather than going sitting somewhere, eat something for 10 and get for a walk. You've got to plan these into your day. If you're someone that's getting off the train and then taking, getting to the station that's opposite the office, consider getting up a little earlier. Consider going to the stop before if it's a 10-minute walk. Consider getting, walking rather than jumping on the bus or jumping on the Uber. You haven't got to do it every day, because what we should think about as well, if you're struggling to get daily steps in, but it's a struggle for you, start to think about it across the whole week. So if you set it at 7,000 a day and you set it against 7 days, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you only hit 4,000, okay, what you can then do is increase the amount you do on the weekend, because let's imagine that you're not in the office on the weekend and you can physically go out and walk the dog or the cat or the goat or whatever you're doing and go and physically move. So you can top yourself up over the week rather than putting so much pressure on yourself that you struggle to, fit it into a day. Because I get it. Oh, Cam, that's great for you. You're a trainer. I'm stuck on Zoom all day. Well, I actually am stuck on Zoom most day, FYI. But on the flip side, there are some of our clients that literally are on the Zoom from 8 till 7. That's tough. Start to think about topping yourself up on the weekend as best you can. So thank you guys for attending the talk today. I really appreciate it. And I hope you found the information valuable. I hope it's helped you to kickstart your journey. And just a little bonus for all you guys that have jumped on today. We've kind of having everything. Everything looks really good, doesn't it? I'm really proud of it. Everything looks cool. My mate Wes has sorted this out. He's got everything looking really, really good. So we've got a kind of success bundle, which is all of our PDFs. So we've got an airport guide, we've got an alcohol guide, we've got a grab and go guide, restaurant guide, becoming a healthy business leader guide, which is what we've spoken about today, broken down, a nutrition guide, and a couple more little special bonuses in there. If you want to get hold of those, and it will kind of, what we'll do is take what we've discussed today and give it a little extra super booster, because it's going to give you more context around the specific areas we've spoken about today. Email at hi@truthfitness.co.uk. Hit me up on a message afterwards and I'll ping those over to you. And they're brilliant. I'm really proud of them. There's lots of good information in there that will help you take the information you've got today and start to build something for yourself. So again, just reach out to me. You're more than welcome. Okay, right. So I've got a little time for Q&As. I've got a question come up here. See if this works. Oh, hey, it worked. There always. If you're still on, you can see that. So Muzamil asked a question. Never thought about this. Running causes injuries. Demographic you talk about must have a number of people who have issues already. Back issues, shoulder issues. The advice I get regularly is that strengthening is the way forward. But if you have bulging discs, it can lead to back injuries, which leads to vicious cycles of being injured and not training. What's your advice on this? This is a great question. So essentially what this gentleman's saying is that he has an injury. Okay, he's got a bulging disc problem, which is, for those you don't know, there's little discs of jelly inside of your spine. And when they start to bulge, it causes a problem because the angle of your spine is not great. And it can cause pain and it can be uncomfortable. So when it comes to, I mean, I've got a couple of questions to ask you, and I don't know if you're still on, but a couple of questions would be, have you seen a trainer? Are you seeing a trainer that can guide you through the training? That would be my first question. Second question is, do you notice that the bulging discs get worse with certain exercises? So give an example, anything that's causing you to hyperextend your spine and flex your spine. Oh, good work, Muslim. That's good news. Flex and extend your spine. Probably not a great idea. Things that are going to be good for that. I mean, problem with the issue with backs, okay, is that it's obviously the most sensitive part of our body. We're very sensitive on our spine. It's completely full of nerve endings. So back and neck pain, if you ever get it, is pretty debilitating. You want to lay on the floor and die essentially. So when it comes to back pain, you're kind of in this strange world where you don't want to do too much because it hurts you. But on the flip side, you need to get stronger. So there are a couple of ways of looking at this. And this is very difficult for me to advise you, Muzamil, while we're not actually talking physically face to face, but I'm giving you general information. I'm kind of giving you an overview of what we often see is that I've got this back problem. I've got this bulging disc. I've got this back weakness. I can't do back exercises. I can't do deadlifts. I can't do squats. I can't do lunges. The problem you've got with that is if you completely avoid those movements, if you avoid those exercises, then your back's never going to get strong. So you're kind of caught in this between a rock and a hard place, which is like, what do I do? And again, it comes down to you as the individual, what movements you can do, what restrictions you have. Do you have full range in your spine? Can you flex and extend? What movements cause you pain? What can you do? What can't you do? What load can you take? What intensity can you take? But my advice, because you've asked for it, would be that you need to focus on becoming strong through your spine. So having the ability, because at the end of the day, right, you've got the bulging disc, which obviously is a problem. When it comes to the spine, it's completely covered with muscle, okay? All the way from the QLs into the lats, into the traps, all around here is all muscle. So the stronger you make that frame, the stronger you make the muscles around your spine, the more protection you're going to get actually on your spinal cord. So just start to think about that. Try not to think too much about the pain and think, right, I'm getting stronger because I want to make sure the whole posterior chain, the front of my torso, everything is stronger. But, it's quite a specific question. I would have to assess you really. But just a quick one. If your trainer hasn't looked at your ranges, if they haven't assessed you for ranges, if they haven't assessed you for kind of where in the body the muscles are switched off and they're turned off, and look to your posture, then you want to get that done, because that's important. Because unless you know the information, it's very difficult to say, hey, these are the movements you should be doing. But generally speaking, you should start small and build up. I know you're doing, I think you said you're doing some deadlifts and stuff. Just be conscious. You want to get your restrictions done. And again, just so you know, that's not a standard thing. You want to make sure they've got MAT is a great way to do that. Muscle activation therapy is a great way to look at restrictions in the body. But yeah, just think about, I'm getting stronger because I want to protect my spine, not I want to do stuff so I don't hurt myself. It's a little bit of a different framing. Cool. So any more questions, guys? If there's not any questions, I will nip off and I will kind of be hanging around LinkedIn now for the next half an hour. Any questions? If you want to grab the bundle, the success bundle, hit me up on email or reach out to me. Any more questions? If you want to come and join us as a client, that'd be amazing. If you want to share this with people, that'd be amazing too. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. I had fun kind of showing you my new sexy slides, and I hope you found it helpful. And yeah, great. See you very soon, guys. Thank you very much.